there are moral truths. Just like it's true that the world or the earth is round, that it's true that there's a moon in our sky. It's true we have a sun. It's true that there's planets in our solar system. There are moral truths. And the bullshit that Jesus tries to feed us is just immoral. For Jesus said, treat others as you would treat yourself. Yet what if there's a person out there, and I know there probably is, there's a person out there that likes to, that went out and bought a little whip, and he that this person took that whip home, and late at night they beat themselves on the back with this whip. Uh, Jesus says that this person should treat others the way he treats himself. How stupid is that? This man who likes to beat himself on the back with a whip does not have any right to beat you on the back with his whip. But Jesus thinks he has the right. Treat others as you would treat yourself. There are people out there who like to cut themselves. So according to Jesus, treat others as you would treat yourself. So I guess according to Jesus, this person who likes to cut themselves has the right to cut you. Do you see how stupid that is? There's a person out there who likes to eat plastic. So according to Jesus, he has a right to uh, have you eat plastic. Treat others as you would treat yourself. Well, Aretha Franklin got it right. RESPCT. Show each other respect. If you want to beat yourself with a whip, I respect that. If you want to run 5 miles a day, I respect that. But because you run 5 miles a day doesn't mean you can force me to run 5 miles a day. Treat others as you would treat yourself. That is so immoral, so wrong. It's very clear just how wrong this is. And the fact that someone is telling me that this person who asserts such a stupid thing is a son of God, not of a God, but the God. Oh, goodness gracious. Christians who claim that they get their morality from God, and therefore their morality is better than our morality, because their morality is not theirs, it is their God's morality. And their God's morality is the morality. But have you ever noticed how the Christian's God's morality matches their own reality or morality? Huh? Talk to 100 Christians, and you get what is claimed to be God's morality, when in fact it's that Christian's own personal morality attributed to their imaginary God. Oh, you must. You must. Oh, it's not my opinion. It's God's opinion. It just happens to match their opinion. Huh? For God says in the Bible, do not wear blended clothing. But go out, I dare you. Go out amongst the Christians. And while you're amongst the Christians, ask them what kind of material they're wearing for clothing. Are they wearing pure cotton? Are they wearing pure wool? Are they wearing pure anything? No, most of them are wearing polyester. That's blended clothing. Huh? That's blended clothing. And the Bible forbids it. But they don't care. Even after you tell them. Because I've told my relatives, my friends, my co-workers, my neighbors, hey, you're wearing blended clothing and the Bible forbids that. Well, that's just a metaphor. See, that's their out. Now the Bible saying homosexuality is wrong, since they're straight and never going to be a homosexual, that's a fact. That's written in stone. But anything that they want to do that the Bible forbids, that was just metaphor. They don't mean that really. The Bible doesn't really mean that. The Bible says you wear blended clothing, you're going to hell. And that's the moral truth. As this Godless Antitheist broadcast has shown over and over and over again, Christians do not follow their own religion. They simply don't follow it. They have sex before marriage. When I was in high school, the Christians I knew were having sex. Men, the boys, and the girls. Huh? Growing up, going out into the world, Christians lie, cheat, and steal. They lead, they lead secular lives while claiming to be Christians. So sad. And they want to prevent someone from getting married. They want to prevent others from voting. They don't like it that atheists can vote. The Bible hates women. Women, according to the Bible, are property of men. And when the woman votes, it is a sin against God. That's why most Christians were against the woman's right to vote. The Bible hates blacks, and that's why most Christians were against black civil rights. The Bible is against homosexuality, and that's why all Christians are against homosexuality. And you want to know how screwed up this world is? There are black Christians, there are women Christians, and there are homosexual Christians. We have a couple of friends who are homosexual, and they are Christian. How can they be Christian? How can they be a member of a club that says they are an abomination? This is just one glaring example of how screwed up a Christian is. That a homosexual is a Christian when the Bible clearly condemns them. That's like a black being a member of the KKK or a woman being a member of a men's club or a sovereign, individual loving person being a fascist. It's a crazy world out there. That's why I always suggest You be careful out there, because there's a lot of batshit, crazy, insane people all around you. Be well and take care. Till next time, this has been another episode of the Godless Antitheist. There's nothing similar to adopting a pet and owning a slave. It's just that simple. Our cat is free to leave anytime she wants to. We feed her, we clothe her, we pay attention to her. She jumps up on our lap. She lays on our lap and sleeps. She may sleep in this chair for a month and then move to the couch or move to a place in the floor. She may start sleeping in a window. We have a 2-story house, so sometimes she stays upstairs. Sometimes she sleeps upstairs. Sometimes she's free to move around the whole house. We've adopted her, just like if you adopt a child. You don't adopt a child and then make that child work for you. You don't tell that child when to get up, when to go to bed, when to eat, when to sleep, what work to do. They're not a slave. I mean, you may tell them it's time to get up to go to school, but you're trying to benefit them. You're not trying to work them. Our cat goes outside, and she's free never to return. Every time we let her outside, she can go 2 blocks away. She can go 3 blocks away. She can go wherever she wants. And she can even go and never come back. As a matter of fact, we owned a black cat, a female black cat. And while we owned this cat for a couple of years, we had our daughter. And one day we let this black cat out, and she never returned. I don't know. We kind of speculated that maybe it was the fact that we had a baby in the house, that she just didn't like it. So she left. But that's not owning a slave. This black cat chose to leave, and she left. Because we had adopted her. We didn't own her as a slave. Now you may say, how do we know that she didn't die? Well, 4 years after she left, we were out on the back porch. My wife, my daughter, and myself. And here she come. She walked into our yard. She walked up on the porch. And we petted her. We welcomed her. But she was wearing a collar and a pet tag. So we knew that someone else had taken her in. Someone else had adopted her. They didn't own her as a slave. She was free to come and go and she visited us. So she must have lived nearby. But she visited us. She stayed a couple of hours, and then she left. And she never came back. She never visited us again. We didn't own that cat as a slave. She was a pet, and she was adopted. We put out the food in a self-filling food dish. You put the food in the top and it feeds down. She could eat whenever she wanted to. Her water bowl was also fed down with water. You pour the water in the top, and as she drank the water came down. So she was free to eat, drink, sleep, and travel wherever she wanted to go. She wasn't a slave. We had adopted her. She was part of the family. just like you adopt a child. You adopt a child, you don't buy a child, and that child doesn't become your slave that has to work for you for the rest of its life. You adopt a child, maybe a baby, maybe a child that's a couple of years old. You raise that child grows up, that child goes out into the world. That child's not a slave. That child is adopted. It's not slavery, it's adoption. And if you many Christians out there can't know the difference between adopting a pet or a child and owning a slave, then I just don't know what else to say except stay away from me if you don't know the difference. Because I don't want you thinking you can capture me and make me or someone I love or one of my friends or one of my neighbors or one of my coworkers your slave. Adopting a pet is not owning a slave. It can't get any clearer than that. It really is just that simple.